All right, guys. Today we have a special treat. I met Darcy at it was Realtor Quest in Canada. So you were
Yes,
there and you
I
walked
was.
by our booth,
Yep.
and it was really cool to see that you're like the guru for technology and real estate agents. So we wanted to have you on the show. We had a couple delays, and we're really excited to get you scheduled and on the show today. And Darcy, tell us a little bit about how you got started as the guru for helping real estate agents in the tech world.
Yeah, it was interesting because I really just fell into it. It was very organic. But what happened was I've been in information technology for decades, and I have a really unique knowledge just from what I've done. So I used to work on wireless devices when they first came out, when it was the Palm Pilot. Do you remember back in the day, the Palm Pilot? And then it was BlackBerry. BlackBerry came along, but I was working with email servers and way back when it started, and how they integrated with wireless devices and how everything syncs, and it's a really unique knowledge that I did for many years. And I didn't really realize the impact until my husband became an agent. And so when he started doing his business, I said, there's probably better ways to do certain things. So I said, let me just shadow you for a bit and see how I can help streamline your business. And so he, from his old days, had a Yahoo account, and he was using that for business. That was number one. And I said, oh, you're still using that? And he's like, well, yeah, why wouldn't I? I said, well, many reasons. So, okay, number one, let's fix that. And then we would, I shadowed, and we would go out and about, and he would meet someone, and he would put the contact in his phone. And then we would go back to the office or home, and he would then have to manually write it in all the other spots. And I'm like, well, that's really inefficient. You do that every time? If I remember. Oh, okay, check. Another thing I can fix. And then we're out and about, and another time, and we're Vancouver. I'm in Vancouver, British Columbia, and it's very large. So we had to drive back one day because he needed to get a document to a client. And I said, well, so 2 hours of wasted time and inefficiency again, because why can't you get that on your phone? So, okay, another thing I can fix. And then the big thing too was also, okay, how are you going to keep in touch with that client? I'm going to write them an email. And I said, it's kind of the same email you write every time to every prospect or potential client, right? Yeah. But you have to think about it every time. Yeah. Okay, that's inefficient as well. And then how are you going to remember to keep in touch with that person? If I remember, I will, right? So at the time, I had no idea about real estate CRMs, but I have a different knowledge and what I look at when I'm testing software. So I started looking at all the top ones back then and saying, my thing was, okay, which ones actually integrate with the email contacts calendar side? Because you can import your data, but then you're running multiple databases, and it's so inefficient. Mm-hmm. So I started looking at that, and so we fixed that, and now in the perfect world, you update your phone because you met someone, and it updates every single thing you touch all automatically. You can access a document on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer. You can access your CRM, which is client relationship management software. Some people don't know what that is. And have people put through the proper sequential emails for that type of person that you have. A prospective buyer, a prospective seller, an actual buyer, an actual seller. You say different things to those people. And so when that happened, I know it was amazing for Terry. So we got it all set up. And now he's actually looks like it's an actual business and not something, right? So then what happened was he started showing his agent pals. I just wanted to fix Terry's stuff. I had no inclinations to work with agents, to be quite frank. One in the family is enough in that industry, right?
Right.
But he kept telling people about me, and they kept saying, can you help me? I'm like, no. And then finally I said, okay, somebody's telling me something because I didn't realize it was a Terry problem. I thought that's all it was, a Terry problem, but it's an industry problem. And now, Terry's been an agent for 12 years or so, and I've been helping agents for maybe 6 or 7, just focusing on the agent side because everybody has the same problem, right?
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I realized we should have changed right here
Yeah.
instead of this, we should have put queen efficiency or efficiency queen because
I like
because
that.
you just hit the nail on the head though. I mean, you talked about
Yeah.
efficiency, 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 and
Hmm.
time is money. I mean,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, and you know, spending time with your family, being more efficient so you can do
That's,
things. Yeah. So go ahead
yeah.
and yeah, go ahead and talk
No,
about
that exactly what you just said. There's the side that we want to fix all our stuff, but there's that side that is that it's so inefficient that it impacts their health,
yeah.
their time with family. Like I still get goosebumps about it because the one time, and it's happened multiple times since, but the very first time, and I still was like, I don't know if I want to help agents. I don't know. So I was helping a coworker of Terry's, and I was fixed all the systems and made them all efficient, just like I'd done for Terry. And he literally started to cry. And I was like, what? And he says, I can't even tell you how this is changing. I still get choked up. He says, I can't even tell you how this is changing my life. Not alone just the technical side where I don't know how to fix stuff. And it's been like this for like decades, but also it's going to free up time. He has 2 children and a wife.
Yeah.
He can actually not worry as much when he goes to the soccer games and all the other stuff and the driving back and forth, like how much time is money, right? It's like, that was the part where I went, you know what? I'm changing lives. It's not just about technology. I'm changing their lives.
Absolutely. And that's really rewarding, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's all right. Well, let's get into the meat and potatoes because
Yes.
the agents want to hear what
Yes.
you want to do and what you prefer and stuff like that. So we're going to get into it. Let's talk
Yeah.
about social media. Give us some of your top tips for social media.
Yeah, there's a couple things about that. So one is that I always get the question about, should I be on all different platforms? I don't know if that's actually, I think if your business systems are set up properly, I don't think it's a requirement to be on social media. Because what I found is most of the agents I work with have been in the industry for, 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe 30 years, right? And they have never been keeping in touch with their clients, right? And so if you keep in touch with the clients, do you really have to do all that other crap that maybe you don't like doing? Like social media. So yes, there's some benefits to it, and I do think there's value, but there's also some time that you have to understand how Facebook works or Instagram or Twitter or whatever the newest thing is. And do you really want to? Now, if you want to, great. So I would say focus on platforms you like, right? If you're like someone, many times, I should be on Twitter. I'm like, well, do you know anything about it, how it works, the intricacies of that platform? No. Are you going to spend a week learning or watching videos learning? No. Well, then don't go on it, and then put it on your website and you have 1 follower, 2 tweets from 3 years ago.
Right. People, they start in these platforms and they have good intentions.
Yes.
Then time gets in the way. And if you're really going to do it, you've got to commit to it. Right.
Yes.
And so I agree with you 100%. And
Yeah.
so, do you have any other tips for social media? I mean,
Yeah.
anything else that you can go over?
I do. It's one would be not to just post listings. I think I know that a lot of times it's just they think that that's what they're supposed to do, but who's your audience, right? If I just bought or sold with you and you're sending me newsletters and posting on social media about your new listings, do I care? I don't care.
Right.
Right? It makes no sense. They have to who's your audience? And I think agents just start posting about their listings and it's all about me, me, me. Look what I've got. I'm the best. I don't think that works.
Yeah.
Unless it's investors that you're, in your Facebook business page or whatever you're doing, then they care about that. But the average person does not care. Give them value, right? It's always about value. And when we were looking at how Terry was doing stuff too, I said, okay, and stop. I see agents do it all the time. It's all about real estate. It shouldn't be about just real estate. Yes, some should, but 80-20 rule, 80% about other stuff. And the other thing I see on social is that social is about building relationships. It's not about selling, giving advice, tips, and also building that relationship so they remember you when they go to buy and sell. Oh, who's that really great person on whatever platform that is always telling me great things about, restaurants in the area or coffee shops or in my area I want to buy in. And they have to remember the people, right? I think there's so many things gone wrong with social media and real estate people, because it drives me crazy that they do, because I think they just have to flip and think, well, what are you doing? Right? Who's your audience?
Yeah, you have to build value. What
Yes.
we talk about is that you have to make yourself look like the professional in your market,
Yeah.
and you're the go-to person for the market. Yeah, if anybody
Yes.
wants, and you have to make yourself look like that. And what you just said is posting a listing. It kind of makes it like you're bragging, and you've got all these listings, but you're not really helping, right? Is that right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So wouldn't it be better to talk about, I don't know, hey, if you're thinking of selling, here's some staging tips, or have an interview with a stager or a mortgage broker or whatever, right? Something different, or the local coffee shop that you think is amazing and does something unique, and tag them, and then that gets in their feed. There's so many different ways of the social side. And it is what it is, but also in some regions, if you're posting a listing, that's considered advertising, right? And so you have to follow all the rules of your association or board's advertising rules. And I see them broken all the time.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
Right?
sure.
So they have to, and also Facebook, Facebook in particular, I love Facebook. That's the platform I use because that's where my people are. That's another thing with agents. They say, well, what should I be on? Well, who's your market? Is it, 18-year-olds or 20-year-olds, new home buyers? Then maybe they're on Instagram. Like, you have to know where your people are. My people are not on Instagram, generally speaking.
Right. Or Snapchat. That's
Snapchat, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
My 16-year-old niece uses that.
Right. So know your market, right? Know which platforms based on the market, right?
Yeah. And also the other tip would be that they should, on the social side, is to put on their profile, they should make it easy for me to contact them. I see it all the time that they don't put any information or irrelevant information. Best realtor ever. Okay, whatever. Put your brokerage, put your phone number, put your email. So if I see a post, I can easily just call, text, message, do whatever from the profile.
It seems like that would be self-explanatory. I mean, you want, if somebody I'm sure that you've seen this, that's why you're saying it. Yes. Because you have agents that post these listings, but there's no way to contact them. I mean, Correct. It basic crazy. It's basic stuff that is very helpful.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So let's get into CRMs. This is my favorite. Yes. So I know probably what yours is, and I'm going to take a guess, okay? But I wanted to get into CRMs as far as follow-up and drips and things like that, and maybe even some phone call. We talk about some phone call stuff. But see, based on I am a stalker, so I stalked you, and I Realtor Juggler is what you prefer. Is that right or no?
Well, so my answer to that question actually is that whatever one an agent will use, really. Now, I do have some preferences for certain reasons, but if somebody's actually using the CRM that they're paying for, then hallelujah. But I find, again, this is many years into it, I used to say to the agent, so how you keep in touch with your clients? And I was always thought I knew the answer, and now I do know the answer. It's not the one I want. It was, I don't know. I don't really keep in touch. But hold on, you have a CRM, yeah, and you paid for 15 years every month, whatever the fee is, and you're using it to manage your contacts. Is that correct? Yes. Then why? Why are you paying them? Because they have this intent to use the CRM, and they don't, because it's overwhelming. They don't know what to do, and anyhow, CRMs will work. Any CRM will work well if you actually use it and it's configured properly. That's again, my specialty is the configuration part of it. So top down is my business. So I have a 6-week program that everything is fixed. I don't do the social media side. I'm just giving tips on this program. It's just top down, fix your stuff. Right. Have that crying moment where you're relieved because all your stuff works. And in the end, keep in touch with your clients through Realty Juggler is one I do love. Any CRM is good if it integrates with email and the email is set up properly. And it sounds like you have to really understand that all this stuff impacts everything, right? And most agents don't understand that because they can't find something on their phone. What's that got to do with email? Well, it has everything to do with email. They can't find something on their computer or their laptop, their Mac mail, their web, everything is that their foundation of their business is not set up properly. And that flows down to email, contacts, calendar, documents, files, photos, personal stuff, and a CRM.
Right.
And that's where because how would they know? Honestly, how would you know how all that stuff all works together? But in order for that thing that you go onto your CRM and you update your contact and everything else updates, or you add a calendar in your CRM and everything else updates, it's because the foundation is set up properly.
So if everything is updated, whether it's through the email and through the CRM and everything, then everything is in sync. So what that means is you have real-time, correct me if I'm wrong, real-time information on contacts and leads, which is crucial, because if you're a realtor, you might have, I don't know, what, 1,000, 2,000 contacts. I can't handle 4 contacts, more or less, remember, a couple thousand, right?
Yeah.
Is that right, Darcy?
Yes, yes, because and some people buy leads, and I actually, I believe is that people are spending money on lead gen and ads and things like that. That I think if you just kept in touch with your people, I know that it works for us in the worst market in Vancouver, where like it's slowed significantly in the last 6-8 months. And everyone's complaining about how slow it is here. I don't know what I'm going to do. Business is horrible. My husband, it's the best year. Every year is his best year ever. And he says it doesn't matter if the market's up or down, because he keeps in touch with his clients and they're always buying and selling, or their friends are, or their family is. And he's always the one they refer him to. Them to. Him to.
Yeah. So what are some drips to engage contacts that you like doing?
Well, see, again, every good CRM. So I see agents also do this. They'll go and buy like Salesforce. Salesforce is not a real estate CRM.
Right.
Or I've just heard of one called Daylight. Never heard of it. It's some CRM that's not a real estate CRM. So why are you doing that? The point of a real estate CRM is that they actually have these generic drip campaigns, right? So you can go in and it might be, let's just say it's for a prospective buyer. So you would say it would be, and everyone's different. Every CRM has, says different things, but it would be something along the lines of, for 2 months, you'll contact them day 1, day 5, day 8, day whatever, right? In a sequential set of emails. And inside those, you can also have your own to-dos. On day 7, you should call them and follow up. Day, whatever your schedule is. But the thing that I see is that they just go, oh my gosh, I'm just going to use this. And it doesn't sound like them, because that's the thing I get from agents. They say, well, it's my clients are going to know it's automated. For one thing, it's better than not being automated, because you're not going to remember. But just go in and customize it so it sounds like you. Right. And then you're done. That's it. Now you add the people to the drip, and now they're consistently being kept in touch with. And you're reminded to call them so you don't forget. Because once you've got 4 or 5 people buying and selling, you're going to miss stuff. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. You've just got to engage them and make it sound like it's a person. And, in those drips via emails, I mean, give us an example of one good email that you like to send out.
Well, one is that I don't have it exactly in front of me, but what I always say in my program, I give them this, I give them the verbiage, but along the lines of, if they've been in the business for a while and they have not been in touch with their clients, it's almost like, I haven't talked to that person in 4 years. It's going to be weird to email them. You know what? Own up to it. Hey, because we can do this email that says, hey, first name. So it could go out to 20 past clients, or 10 or 1 or whatever, tested on 1, whatever. But it could go out to a bunch of people and they won't know that it's automated, right? Or that it went out to 20 people. They'll say, hey, Joe, I've been remiss in keeping touch. I feel really bad. I'm sorry. My systems were not quite in place, and now I've got them in place. I would love to get together for coffee or drink, whatever your verbiage is, right? And see how you're doing. Simple as that. One email, and I guarantee you somebody's going to reach back and say, oh yeah, how are you? Because I know it was interesting. We were at Treb at the Realtor Quest. Terry and I went to the Dominican because it was closer. We'd never go there from Vancouver, but it was closer to Toronto. And so we went to the Dominican and we met a lovely couple from the States. And she was saying, you know, what's Terry do? He's a real estate agent. What do you do? And I said, you know what? I'm going to explain what I do. Have you ever bought and sold a house? And she says, yeah, I bought about 5 years ago. And I said, did you like the agent? She says, oh yeah, he's really great. And I said, would you use him again if you're going to buy or sell? And she says, oh yeah, he was so great. And I'm like, what's his name? She had, and it bugged her for the whole time we kept seeing her. She says, I still don't know. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
That night I said, that's what I do. I help those agents keep in touch with you, because they don't have the proper systems in place. Their foundation isn't set up right. So they're missing probably hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost deals, right? For reasons like that. And also having a Yahoo email. I always make a joke about this too. Would you hire a lawyer, all things being equal, best lawyers, you have 2 of them, right? One, his email address is Joe the best lawyer ever, 1973 at yahoo.ca or .com, whatever, or AOL. And then you have the other guy that's Joe at smithlaw.com.
Right. Yeah.
I don't even know. I know that I think agents don't think they run a business. They're running a business and they have to treat it as such, and they don't.
That's amazing. You know, I'm sure people do that. You know, have those types of email addresses, but
90% do.
Oh my goodness!
I'm astounded because they think it's okay, or they think they set it up properly. Here's the other thing: they think they've set it up properly, but all they're doing is forwarding emails to a crappy personal email, and they don't realize that when they're sending it from their phone or however they've got it set up, it's sent. It might look okay initially, but then it's sent from some Yahoo or at Gmail or Shaw Telus in Canada. Like it's horrible. And it's impacting their business, not just from the professional side, but from the tech side. If you've got a old email, nothing is talking. I update my phone. It doesn't update my Mac mail, my Outlook, my webmail. And then you're like, well, I'm sure I updated it. Now, who is the guy? Like, you're losing business and you're costing yourself like tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. It makes no sense. About it.
We just talked about making yourself the go-to professional in your market. And if you have a Yahoo email address, that automatically takes you out of that conversation.
Yep. Yeah.
There's no way anybody is going to think that. So that's a great tip right there. Hey, the biggest thing right now, I have to ask you about this, what your thoughts are on text messaging and SMS messaging. What are your thoughts on engaging some of those clients via SMS? Is it too personal? What are your thoughts?
I think that you have to know, again, your market. So let's say I don't text. I do. But if I didn't, and you're texting me, I always say it's funny because I'm in some of the realtor forums and they're making comments about kind of this stuff. And I'm like, if you have to do what your clients like. If your clients like phone calls, you phone them. If your clients like emailing, you email them. If your clients text. If you PM them, whatever their preferred message of communication, not your preferred method of communication. That's what I think. Right. But I do think text messaging, why not? Right? It's huge.
Yeah, it is huge. And, you know, even with Messenger now, with Facebook Messenger, you know, reaching out, engaging those leads via Facebook. I mean, everybody's on Facebook. So you can message anybody via Facebook, which is the same thing as SMS. It's just inside of Facebook. So, you know, I can't tell you how many times I communicate people, you know, with that and, you know, with Facebook and stuff like that. So, so let's talk about calls. So, you know, our company is...
I know.
Sales, I have to get it right, salesdialers.com. Do you believe in that one-on-one phone call where, you know, you're talking to that lead that you have, or that person you sold a house to, and making those phone calls to you know, re-engage that relationship with them, or you know, or how do you make yourself stand out via phone calls if it's a new lead maybe? You know, how do you make yourself stand out, you know, making those phone calls? Can you give us advice on some calls?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, that it's a mixture of all these different ways of communicating, right? So the phone still is around, right? Still make phone calls, and especially successful agents, they're always on their phone, right? And I know it was Sales Dialer, so that is an automatic way to keep in touch, correct?
Well, we're a live solution, so it's not we're really a full CRM. So you can engage leads via phone calls, SMS marketing, and email marketing. So we're an all solution. But yeah, I mean, phone calls is a big part of it because, in my opinion, there is no better way to get to engage a lead, and a quicker way to engage a lead than a phone call, because you can call them right then. They don't have to wait on an email. They don't have to wait on a return SMS. So in my opinion, a phone call is the best way to get business quicker rather than waiting on the person to reply back to an email. That's my opinion.
Well, and also that you don't know, like, I'm sure everyone's like, did they get that email, or did they get that text, or did they read that text? And sometimes we can, and also I think with text and PM or DM is sometimes too is like, I like it, but I also sometimes I read the message and then I forget that even with my mom will text me. She's very tech savvy. I taught her well. She'll text me or private message me and asking me a question, and I'll read it, but I'm busy right now. And then someone else texts and I forget that 3 texts ago from somebody else, like, that she actually asked a question, like, oh no, where was that? But a phone call is different because they answer the phone, you leave a message, or, even I like some of the, like what you're using Zoom. I do the Zoom meeting where it's live, face-to-face, kind of like FaceTime. Those are awesome. Bomb video, where they actually get to see your personality.
Yeah, and that's important, isn't it? I mean, they want to see somebody, but before they do business with them, they want to talk to somebody before they do business with them.
Yeah, what kind of person they are, and that doesn't really come across on any other way except phone, or what we're doing, right?
Right.
Tell how passionate I am about something when I'm talking on a phone or on an email as much as you would with this conversation. So yeah, it's interesting. I think it's really important.
Relationships have changed, in my opinion, Darcy. Before, in the past, like in the 80s, it was always relationship based, and then the tech came out, and there's texting, and then there's social media. And what I found is that people they've steered away from that, and they just would rather send a text or an email before they would rather talk to them. So they kind of steer themselves away from actually carrying on a conversation.
Yeah.
And I feel now that an agent that is doing, or a business person in general or in sales, if they're engaging them via phone call, it might sound antiquated, but it is what people don't do now, and that makes yourself stand out. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that there's also two I think agents. There's the transactional ones that don't really care about the relationship side. They just want to get the deal done.
Yep.
Right? Money.
Yep.
And the public doesn't know the difference, unfortunately. And then there's the relationship. So Terry and I talk about this all the time. Like, he's built a relationship with every client, right? And that's why on the phone, live, whatever it might be, and they know that he'd never mess them around. And he's not about, I think it's important, he's not about the sale. It's about what their needs are and how best to serve them.
Right.
And so I do think there's 2 different types of agents. I think that the type that Terry is will be in business longer.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
I had a good quote. I got trying to find it. Well, hold on. I got to find it because it was like, this really resonated. Oh, yeah. Well, it's kind of like inviting people to change their lives. To change their lives and getting them the best, selling their home at the best possible price, but how they want to sell it and understand it's a product and go through the process and really get them to understand what the sales process is, right? Or when they're buying, like if it takes a month, great, or 2 days or a year, it's what the best product is for them.
Right.
Not just to make the deal.
Right.
So they've got it's got a bad rap and it shouldn't.
Yeah. So, what I do is we try to keep these shows right around 30 minutes, and we're approaching that, but I always finish a show by this question.
Yes.
And that question is if you're a new agent or a struggling agent, because let's face it, most of them are, okay?
Yeah.
The successful agents, they've got systems in place and they've got everything covered, so they're successful. But the struggling agent or the new agent,
Yeah.
what are the top tips that
Yeah.
you would give them that they can take right now and make a change in their business for the better?
Yeah, so when you said the successful agents already have their systems in place, I'm going to say that they don't. They
Oh,
might be
okay.
successful despite having incorrect systems in
Ah,
place.
very good. Okay,
I've
very
never
good.
seen
Well,
anybody have their systems properly set up. I do think that if I can give anyone advice, it's that you actually are running a business. So, and maybe you didn't have the knowledge of how to set up your systems to run a business, but you're running a business. And so, you have to put money away for taxes because the tax man needs his portion. You have to set up it like a business. You should buy a domain, right? Everyone should have a domain. They should have a proper business email. They should have all their systems set up. They should use a darn CRM and not just pay for it, any
right.
CRM. And they shouldn't. Here's the thing where I come in later and help agents as well, is that the CRM companies will, usually you can integrate and synchronize and it'll all work, but they'll also not tell you that. They want your business to pay monthly, and they'll just say, no, import your database. And I always I get the shivers when someone says, no, I'm manually inputting my stuff, or I'm importing my spreadsheet into my CRM. And I was like, you know what, wait, because now you're doing things twice, and that's not the way it can be. It should be, right? Because that makes no sense. Now you have to remember, update here, update there, update everywhere. And it just becomes frustrating for everybody, right? So it's really about systems in place properly for new agents, and maybe even more important for the agents that have been around for a long time.
Yeah, because they could if you don't change with the times, then you get left behind. Right?
Yes, you do. Yes, you
Yeah.
do. And at some point, you're just like, I just can't keep up anymore because everything's
Right.
changing all the time. So, if it's set up and everything's working, and like that agent who was cried after it all got done, and that's how you want to feel about your business, that you go do the stuff that you're really good at, like selling, but when the systems are in place, then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Right? And know that when you get a prospect, they go in this drip. When you get a buyer, they go in this drip. We have a 10-year drip. Because I found that all the CRMs out there never had sometimes the clients stay in a home for 10 years, right? Sometimes. So you want to be keeping in touch with people. I like this phrase. You always want to keep in touch with people until you die or they do.
Right. Now, a 10-year drip is crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. A 10-year drip. So if anybody doesn't know what a drip is on the show, a drip is where, it's emails going out or SMSs going out that are automated over 10 years to help you engage those leads or those prospects. So
not about listings. It's about value add throughout all 3 or 4 touches every year. And it's not about, I'm the best sales guy ever. It's about giving value to the client.
Yeah.
If I can say, always about the client and the value.
Absolutely.
You've been in the house a year. Maybe you're thinking of renovating. I've got tons of great tradespeople. Let me know if I can help. End of story. You don't have to say, hey, looking for referrals, help me, whatever, help me get my business. That's not their job.
Right.
It's your job is to help them and not be a salesperson at that point. They don't need a salesperson. But if you keep in touch, they will remember you, guaranteed.
That's awesome. Well, Darcy, tell us how some of the people on the show can get in contact with you via email, phone, or whatever you prefer. Let's get that out there so you can share that.
2 ways. One is I have a Facebook group, and I will share that with you, and maybe you can put it in the link in the video.
Absolutely.
And also my website is Darcy, DARCI, talks.com. And I'm just doing up a webinar for agents, and there'll be a link on there maybe by the time this goes out, I don't know. But there's a 30-minute strategy call that I can also help with agents and look at, how we can best help them achieve better things in their life with their stress level and not understanding technology. So that's also an option as well.
So a 30-minute strategy call, that is cool because because I mean, they'll have a call with you to talk about the processes and things like that and how you can help them. And that's a great idea. So everybody who hears that, please reach out to Darcy. 30-minute call and a strategy call. And I think that's huge. That is a great way to talk to somebody who is knows what they're talking about in the real estate world. So that's awesome. Well, Darcy, I just want to say thank you for being on the show today, and we'd love to have you back someday, talk about some other subjects if that's okay.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
And so I just want to say thank you again, and we'll talk to you next time on the show. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks, Gary. Okay, bye.